I'm 82 and I regret retiring. 6 Retirement mistakes you must avoid. Advice for the elderly. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not here to scare you or tell you retirement is doomed to fail. Far from it. I've seen patients, friends, and even myself wrestle with this chapter, and I've come to realize something powerful. Retirement can be incredible, but only if you sidestep the pitfalls that catch so many of us off guard. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on 6 retirement mistakes I've seen far too often, mistakes that turned my golden years into something less shiny than I'd hoped. Whether you're nearing retirement, already in it, or just curious about what lies ahead, stick with me. This isn't just a cautionary tale, it's a roadmap to making your later years vibrant, meaningful, and truly yours. Let's dive in, shall we? Mistake number 1, losing your sense of purpose. Imagine waking up one morning, the alarm clock silent for the first time in decades. No meetings, no deadlines, no patients waiting in room 3. At first, it's bliss, like a vacation that never ends. But then, a few weeks pass, and that thrill fades. You're left wondering, now what? That's exactly what hit me like a ton of bricks after I retired. For 40 years, I'd been a doctor rushing to the hospital, solving problems, helping people breathe easier, sometimes literally. My days had structure, meaning, a reason to leap out of bed. Then, poof, it was gone. I'll never forget Thomas, a patient of mine. At 76, he'd been an engineer for over 4 decades, designing bridges that still stand today. He couldn't wait to retire, dreaming of lazy mornings and golf afternoons. But within a year, he was back in my office, not for a checkup, but because he felt lost. "Doc," he said, "I don't know who I am without a project to tackle." The golf got old, the mornings felt empty, and he missed the buzz of solving problems. It wasn't until he started volunteering at a local science center, teaching kids about physics, that he lit up again. His eyes sparkled as he told me how it felt to be useful once more. Here's the thing, work isn't just a paycheck. It's a lifeline to purpose. Studies from the Journal of Occupational Health Psychology show that people who retire without a plan for meaningful activity are 40% more likely to report feelings of aimlessness or depression. Your brain craves a mission, something to sink your teeth into. When I retired, I thought endless relaxation would fill that void. Spoiler alert, it didn't. The days stretched on, blending into a blur of Netflix and naps. So, what's the fix? Don't let purpose retire with you. Find something that gets you excited: volunteering, mentoring, even a part-time gig if it suits you. I started writing articles like this one, sharing my medical knowledge with folks like you. It's not about staying busy for the sake of it, it's about keeping that fire alive. The happiest retirees I've met are the ones who wake up with a reason to get moving, whether it's tending a garden, teaching a grandkid to fish, or helping a local charity. Purpose doesn't have an expiration date, and neither should you. Mistake number 2, falling into social isolation. Let me paint you a picture from my working days. I'd walk into the hospital break room, coffee in hand, and there'd be a chorus of "Morning, Doc," from nurses, fellow physicians, even the janitor who loved swapping jokes. Those little moments, casual chats, shared laughs, even the occasional grumble about a tough case, were the heartbeat of my social life. I didn't realize how much I'd miss them until they were gone. Take Robert, a 74-year-old former salesman I met years ago. His job had him crisscrossing the state, shaking hands, and charming clients. Retirement sounded like a dream piece, quiet, no more travel schedules. But a year in, he told me, "Doc, the silence is deafening." His phone stopped ringing, his buddies drifted away, and he found himself alone more than he'd ever been. It wasn't until he joined a walking group and started volunteering at a food bank that he rediscovered that spark of connection. Here's the science behind it: humans are wired for community. A landmark study from the Lancet Public Health found that social isolation in older adults increases the risk of depression by 50% and even shortens lifespans, sometimes more than smoking or obesity. When you retire, that built-in network of co-workers vanishes, and if you're not careful, loneliness creeps in. I felt it myself those first few months. I'd wander the house, missing the chatter of the hospital. My wife would tease me, "You're pacing like a caged lion." The antidote? Be intentional about staying connected. Join a club, book, hiking, knitting, whatever lights you up. Call an old friend, not just for holidays but on a random Tuesday. I started a weekly coffee meetup with retired colleagues, and it's been a lifeline. Even small steps like smiling at a neighbor or chatting with the cashier keep you in the game. Retirement doesn't mean retreating from the world, it's a chance to build new bonds. Trust me, your heart and mind will thank you. Mistake number 3, underestimating financial stress. Oh, money. We all think we've got it figured out, don't we? I sure did. I'd saved diligently, mapped out my pension, and figured I was set for a cozy retirement. But life has a way of throwing curveballs. A leaky roof here, a medical bill there, and suddenly that comfortable nest egg starts looking more like a sparrow's stash. John, a 78-year-old patient, had a similar story. He retired at 62, confident his savings would carry him through. For a while, it did, until a surgery wiped out a chunk of his funds, and inflation made his grocery bill feel like a mortgage payment. "I never thought I'd be counting pennies at this age," he confessed. He ended up taking a part-time consulting gig, not just for cash, but for sanity. Here's the cold truth: retirement flips the financial script. When you're working, paychecks roll in like clockwork. In retirement, that stops, and every expense feels magnified. The American Economic Review notes that 1 in 3 retirees underestimates their costs, especially healthcare, which can skyrocket as we age. I've seen it in my practice, patients shocked when a single hospital stay costs more than their annual travel budget. So, how do you dodge this trap? Plan like your life depends on it, because it does. Build a budget with wiggle room for surprises. Consider part-time work or passive income streams, rental properties, investments, even a little online shop if you're crafty. I started tutoring medical students online, and it's been a win-win: extra cash and a chance to stay sharp. Don't spend big early on those dream trips, can wait until you're sure the foundation's solid. The retirees who thrive financially are the ones who stay flexible, adjusting as costs rise and life shifts. Money worries shouldn't steal your peace. Plan smart, and they won't. Mistake number 4, letting your mind go soft. I'll let you in on a secret from my medical days: the brain is like a muscle. Use it, and it grows stronger. Let it idle, and it gets flabby. When I retired, I thought I'd revel in the downtime: TV marathons, puzzles, maybe a nap or two. But after a while, I noticed something unsettling. Names slipped my mind mid-sentence, and focusing on a book felt harder than it used to. My brain, once a whirring machine of diagnoses and prescriptions, was slowing down. Barbara, a 73-year-old former teacher, had the same wake-up call. She'd spent decades crafting lesson plans and engaging students, but post-retirement, she traded that for daytime TV. "Doc, I feel fuzzy," she told me. It wasn't until she joined a book club and started online courses that her sharpness returned. She'd beam as she recounted debates over Dickens or Austen. Her mind was back in the game. The research backs this up. A study in neurology found that retirees who stop challenging their brains see a 15% faster cognitive decline than those who stay engaged. Work keeps you sharp, problem solving, learning, adapting. Without it, the mind can stall. I saw it in myself those first retirement months: less reading, more reruns, and a creeping fog I hadn't expected. Here's how to fight back: treat your brain like a gym. Learn something new: a language, an instrument, even a tricky recipe. I picked up Spanish at 80, and trust me, if I can stumble through Donde está el baño, you can too. Puzzles, debates, or volunteering in roles that demand thinking keep the gears turning. Socializing helps too. Conversation is a workout for your neurons. The sharpest retirees I know never stop growing. Retirement's not a mental vacation, it's a chance to flex your mind in new ways. Mistake number 5, losing your identity. Who are you? It's a simple question, right? For most of my life, I'd answer, I'm a doctor. It wasn't just a job, it was me. The white coat, the stethoscope, the grateful nods from patients, it defined me. Then I retired, and that question got harder. I'm retired. It didn't feel like enough. Richard, a 77-year-old ex-cop, felt the same. His badge had been his identity, protecting, serving, mattering. Post-retirement, he told me, I don't know who I am without the uniform. He'd wander his house, restless, until he started mentoring young officers. Suddenly, he was Richard again, not the cop, but the wise guide sharing his story. Here's the rub, work isn't just tasks, it's a mirror reflecting your worth. A Psychology Today study found that 60% of retirees struggle with identity loss, especially if their career was their core. I felt it too. Family stopped asking my advice, friends saw me as retired doc, not the expert I'd been. It stung. The solution? Redefine yourself. Retirement's not an end, it's a pivot. Find a new role: mentor, artist, volunteer, whatever fits. I became a writer and teacher, passing on what I know. Some retirees start businesses, others dive into passions sidelined by work. The key is to see yourself as valuable, not finished. Your identity doesn't clock out, it evolves. Embrace that, and you'll shine brighter than ever. Mistake number 6, regretting wasted time. This one hits hard. At 82, I look back and wish I'd seized more moments. Retirement started with grand plans: travel, writing, reconnecting with old pals. But I told myself, I'll get to it later. Later became years, and now, with creaky knees and a slower step, I regret the chances I let slip. James, an 80-year-old patient, echoed this. He'd dreamed of globe-trotting and penning a memoir. Instead, he sank into routine: TV, coffee, repeat. A decade later, he told me, I wish I'd started sooner. Health faltered, time shrank, and those dreams felt distant. The Journal of Gerontology says it plain: retirees who stay proactive report 70% less regret than those who drift. Time feels infinite at first, but it races by. I've felt it: days lost to mindless scrolling when I could have been exploring or creating. The happiest retirees don't wait, they act. So, start now. Book that trip, call that friend, try that hobby. I began sketching at 81, terrible at first, but the joy of it. Small steps compound into a life well lived. Regret's a thief, don't let it rob you. Your time's too precious. Final thoughts: crafting a retirement you'll love. Retirement's a paradox, a dream that can sour if you're not ready. I've lived it, seen it in patients, and learned the hard way: it's not about quitting work, but about starting something new. Purpose, connection, financial savvy, mental sharpness, identity, and time, these are the pillars of a retirement that sings. At 82, I'm not done. I write, I connect, I learn, because it's never too late. Whether you're 60 or 90, you've got the power to shape this chapter. Reflect: what stirs you? What can you do today? Share your thoughts below. I'd love to hear one lesson you're taking forward. Let's make these years golden, together. Thanks for joining me, friends. Here's to a retirement with no regrets, only richness and joy. See you next time.